Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well. If you don't already know me, hello, my name is Abële, and I have jumped into the YouTube space, and I just want to create content and share what I know, my past, my life experience and whatnot, and everything that will happen from this day forward on this creative, artistic journey that I've embarked myself on. So, just a quick recap if you don't already know, I've quit my job back in August, the 29th of August, which is quite recently, but almost a month ago, which is crazy because, time goes by so fast. It doesn't mean that you stop working at a corporate job or whatever, that, you know, time slows down or whatever. Like, I believe you have to keep yourself and your mind occupied and busy, and you have to keep on, working towards what you actually want in life. So, and, speaking of that, which is a nice introduction to today's video, I wanted to elaborate and talk a little bit more about discipline and distraction. Last night, actually, it always happens to me. Maybe it's the same for anyone watching as well. Whenever I go to sleep and I lay my head on my pillow and try to unwind and, relax and whatnot, these moments are actually the moments where my brain is like in full activity mode, if that makes sense. Right before I fall asleep, there's always something like popping right into my head. And oftentimes I have to, whether it's ideas or personal realizations or meditative quotes whatsoever, I always have to, oftentimes I have to get up and, write down these ideas or thoughts, like general thoughts or what have you. And that's what happened last night. You know, how distraction and discipline really kind of go hand in hand whenever you're on this, embarking yourself on this self-improvement journey to really become the best or ideal version of yourself, the person that you want to become, not only for, for your own existence, but also to influence on a positive note the people around you, and, depending on the scale at which you want to influence positively the people around you and your life and whatnot, they really kind of go, that's it, hand in hand. And you cannot be disciplined without having distraction in your, vision, if that makes sense. And, all of this what I'm about to share with you is something that I've kind of known for like a really long time, but I never, in the past, I never really questioned myself or never stopped and paused and pondered upon, this thought and meditated upon, this reality and this fact about life. But I'm pretty sure, most of you who are watching, you're aware of everything that is happening in the world, politically speaking, socially speaking, with wars and all that, which ultimately, personally, I believe these are all forms of distraction. And I'll develop a little bit more about that, as far as this video is going to go. But in terms of distraction and everything that is happening right now, yes, it's important to realize what's happening and to not be kind of stupid or ignorant, or just believe whatever the news is telling you, or what the authorities are telling you. It's always good to question question what is deemed as facts and all that, because, you know, whoever detains facts and the truth holds power. And regardless of this kind of pedestal or the status, like, position, you should always question everything, even yourself and all that. But point being is, these are all like distractions. Yes, horrible things are happening in the world, but this has been a life fact ever since, you know, human beings have been living and breathing on this planet Earth. You know, and it's, unfortunately, it's not going to stop until God chooses, if he wants to, make it stop. You know, all the injustice and the pain and the suffering and whatnot, like, you know, as human beings, we're not God, and we cannot say that things, like, that everything is, like, true, or, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but, you know, we cannot predict the future. Only God can, and only God will choose in his time when things will have to stop and all that. So anyways, I'm not saying, the point that I'm trying to make is, I'm not saying that I detain the truth and nothing but the truth. And I think it's the same thing for every single human being. Nobody holds the truth, like, 100%, like, for a fact, you know. But again, it depends. It's very relative to which subject we're talking about. But overall, you know, I often question myself these types of questions, you know, like, is life real? Are we actually living and existing? And, you know, or is everything just kind of a dream, and it's kind of unreal, if that makes sense, you know? And I often talk about these subjects with my sisters and the people close to me. But again, you know, you can't really pour all of your time and your energy upon, like, these subjects and questions and everything that is happening in the world, because again, these are all it's just noise. It's just distraction, you know? While something is happening on the left side of the scene, there's something happening on the right side of the scene, and vice versa, you know? It's like up and down and, like, multi-directional. So you just have to be careful where you are pouring and investing your energy. I often question myself, like, okay, I'm focusing on that right now, but what is my return on investment? Is it a net positive or net negative? Like, where is it actually bringing me? Perhaps more knowledge and insight and truth about human beings and life in general, okay, but what is the extent of my return on investment? Is it short-term, mid-term, or long-term? And if it's, like, immediate to short-term and, like, there's actually nothing positive coming out of it, then I immediately retire myself and focus and pour my energy back, focus back on what is really important to me and what are my priorities and my goals. Whether it's personal, spiritual, professional, relational, or what have you. And I just wanted to remind people that, you know, if you have a dream, if you have goals, if you're, like, ambitious, and if you see a life greater than the one that you are living right now, you know, wanting to impact the world on a positive note, leave a mark, to really positively impact the people around you, or again, to a further extent, you really have to kind of be quick to act and to retire yourself from whatever is sucking the life energy out of you. And, you know, the past week, unfortunately, last Friday, I didn't post. I didn't post any video because, you know, I actually didn't have the time, and I didn't choose perhaps, like, my battles correctly or as I should have. But, you know, I don't want to put myself myself down and just stop, like, completely. I want to keep going. And, you know, everything that happened last week with Charlie Kirk and, you know, all the truth coming out from this poor Ukrainian refugee, this poor girl, which happened on August 22nd and only came out in mid of September, which is kind of weird in my opinion. But whatever happened to this poor girl, you know, everything was so disturbing, and it was so, like, it really personally affected me because, you know, for me personally, I think it's just, it is not correct. It is not normal. And I'm deeply affected by the things that I've seen and heard. So anyways, I was really down about it, but again, this thing came back in my mind, like, constantly. I know these are all distractions. I know these are all tragic news, but they're distractions, and what can I do about it? Yes, I can have an opinion and briefly talk about it here and there with the people around me, or maybe briefly talk about it on the internet, but I cannot, like, there's only so much I can do and so much I can say that will actually be very impactful in my opinion. So again, I just take what resonate and leave everything out, and I just try to keep on moving forward. So but that's it. The price of living the life that you want, the life that you desire, and the impact that you just want to put onto this world while you're living, is the price of being able to make sacrifices and really be quick to cut out any negative distraction or any type of distraction, because it really derails you from, you know, your life force and the time that you can invest into what you want to build and create into this world. So yeah, these were all, like, personal experience that I've lived this past week in terms of discipline and distraction, because that's it. The price of being distraction is to lose your sense of discipline, and vice versa. You know, the price of, you know, being disciplined is to be quick to disregard and to push away distractions. Or, like, perhaps someone might see it as, like, opportunities. And a lot of, you know, entrepreneurs talk about it. Whenever there's an opportunity coming, like, at them, it's not necessarily a positive thing, but it can be a distraction and derail them from what their actual mission is, and what their goals are. So yeah, I mean, if you have goals and dreams, you have to be disciplined, because if you don't have discipline, then you're not really going to move forward, in my personal opinion. You're not going to move as quickly, as efficiently as you potentially could. And, you know, some people, like, they see discipline in a way that is either positive or negative. You know, personally, when I was, like, younger and a little bit more immature, you know, like, I'm saying, like, 11, 12, obviously, you're not really mature at this age, or fully mature at that age, but I've always perceived discipline as something, like, hurtful or bad, because, you know, well, not to get into many details, but I perceived my mother as very, like, disciplined, and she was, you know, very, she was imposing a high level of discipline to her children, or that's how I felt like towards me. And I didn't feel like the sense of nurture from my mother because of that. And, at some point I remember at, that age, I was having this kind of debate with my mother. And I was like, no, being disciplined, it's being harsh. It's being like, straight and forward and, you know, doing what is right and what have you. And she said, no, discipline is not about, it's love. It's guidance. It's protection. And I was like, no, that's not it. And, and with other women who are close to me, they were actually backing up my mother. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? No, this is because from my personal experience, I thought discipline was being kind of mean and harsh. And they tried to bring the analogy of Jesus, Jesus being a very disciplined man. And I was completely lost, to be honest. I was like, Jesus was not a discipline, and, they were referring the word discipline to disciple, to coach, to educate, to form, to mold something into something stable and structured. And that's it. Back then, I didn't understand this lesson at all. It didn't make sense to me. But as I grew older and with like personal, like internal and spiritual evolution, through either, mental discipline and fitness and, being organized and whatnot, these lessons came like in its own, divine timing. And this is when I understood that discipline is a form of self-love. And it's a form of love. Actually, the saying, discipline is tough love. Then that's exactly it. It's kind of saying or doing something that you don't want to hear or you don't want to do, you don't want to say or whatever, but actually delaying the gratification to later, because it creates this ripple effect, this exponential growth effect of, benefiting of something that you want to have in your life, but it takes time to grow and to be cultivated and all that. So yeah, discipline is not a negative thing. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It's a very positive thing. It's a very good thing. And shifting your vision and your mindset about discipline can really change the course of your life, and it really improves your sense of self-esteem and personal self-confidence, and it imposes other people. When you're self-disciplined, it imposes, you carry yourself differently, and it shows to other people to not mess around with you and to not disrespect you, because you are not messing around with yourself, you're not disrespecting yourself, and you are highly evaluating your time and your energy and your resources, because you earned it with hard work and discipline and with a sense of personal leadership. So this is your sign, actually, to really forge yourself into really dig deeper into discipline if you're having issues with discipline, because it's really hard to cultivate, and to create internally, as in anything in life. It's very hard to make it happen and to make it a ritual and a habit, but it is so easy to lose. Only you might, it takes about, perhaps from my personal experience, it took me a long time. It was hard in the beginning to being consistent, on a day-to-day basis, to be physically active and to, be an active, athletic person, it takes about like a month to incorporate a new habit, whether it's fitness or whatever. But it only takes one day to, make your whole kingdom, your whole efforts, and your whole like work crumble down. So it takes about, again, 30 days to build something new, a habit, like for example, fitness, and it only takes one day to completely mess it up and to lose all of this, hard work and all of the hardship that you've cultivated, that you've built up for yourself. Because if you can skip one day, if you can stop for only once, then you can do it twice. And, it's really kind of, in my opinion, it's not easy. These are facts, like human biological facts and mental facts. But again, if you can start something difficult once and keep it for at least, like, let's say a week or 30 days or whatever, then, and you lose it because, we're all imperfect, of course, then if you've shown yourself that you can make it happen, then you already know that you can make it happen again. Like if your foot kind of loses track, if that makes sense. So, and that's it. Anything good in life takes time to build, and it takes discipline to maintain and to keep like active in your life, if that makes sense. So these were my actual takes on discipline. But the thing that, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, last night when I was going to bed, and everything that is happening in the world, all the evil that is happening, that's the thing. Like, this is the thing that clicked in my mind when I was going to bed, and I had to write it down because I wanted to talk about it in this video and not lose track and, be frustrated towards myself because I didn't get up and, write it down, which is a form of discipline because, I already explained it, but that's what, if you're a spiritual person, the dark force, the light, God, evil, angels and demons, or the universe, whatever, like, there's always like polar opposites in this world, whatever is happening above is also happening below and vice versa. So that is the devil's or Lucifer's or the evil's most used card to play in this game of life. His biggest, most, in my opinion, most, what's the term? Most underestimated and most overlooked card is distraction. Really, like, think about it. If you're a believer in God and, you believe in the Bible, you kind of, you know what I'm talking about. That's what he wanted to do with Eve. She was less experienced. She was more naive. And his foundational goal, the card that he played, was distraction and falsery and lie, essentially, to distract her from the truth by lying about God's actual personality and his actual traits. That, he wanted to make her doubt and to distract her from the truth. He asked her, "Oh, so God told you to not eat any fruits in this garden?" And she told him, to the serpent, to the snake, that no, only this particular fruit from this tree we shall not eat. And he said, "What are you talking about? Of course not. You can eat it, like, because actually God is lying to you and he's trying to keep something good away from you, because he knows that as soon as you eat this fruit, you will be as even more powerful, more knowledge than God, and you will be something greater than God himself is. And she ate the fruit, and then we know the whole rest of the story. But that was, in my opinion, that was his tactic. His manipulational tactic was to distract her from the truth. And he keeps on, the best players, whether it's anything in life, sports or like game cards or entrepreneurs, business people, artists, when something works once and only once, you repeat the same thing over and over again, and you're guaranteed of having the same thing that you gain at first, to gain, whatever you're searching for. So, again, it's the devil's most used tactic and like game card. It's distraction, and we are living in a world filled with distraction. It is so crazy, and I'm a personally, I'm also very guilty about it. We're distracted all the time, and not like all distraction is bad per se, but it's only to you to judge if this distraction is a net positive or net negative thing to pour your time and your energy upon. Like, for instance, I love movies, and I love watching movies. Sometimes it's not the most productive thing for me to do, but it's a way for me to unwind and, again, distract myself, entertain myself, but also get inspired for, ideas and projects. And, again, these are like, this is not a completely net negative experience or thing that I do, but it can be very positive. But again, like anything in excess can be detrimental to you in your life. And movies was like an example, but for some people it's food, it's alcohol, it's natural remedies, if you know what I mean. But again, so that's it. Distractions are not always a bad thing, but you have to be careful. The line is very slim, the line is very thin, and it's very easy to overcross this boundary. So it's very important for you to put in place, or to anyone to put in place, some very clear and straight rules that you cannot cross over, because it would be a form of self-disrespect and just a form of not being honest and truthful to yourself, like in the moment, and for your future self and your past self, depending on what you're currently living in your life. But again, like, I want to go back to the devil's manipulational tactic about distraction. Like I said, we're in a world filled with distraction, and it's like a parasite. It's like a virus that infects everything that it touches, and it can be infiltrated in everything. The news, politics, the entertainment industry, spirituality, our biology, so yeah, you have to be very careful about that, be mindful, be careful, and really ask for guidance and ponder, meditate like very often to, build this sense of self-respect and to help others as well, and to be of a positive net force in your life and towards other people around you in your life. I was actually, I stumbled upon this Bible verse a few weeks ago, and I think I did mention it in one of my previous videos, but it's Ecclesiastes 11:4, which is the man that look at the clouds will not reap or sow, and basically it is wasting their time. Unfortunately, I don't remember the whole verse like by heart, or I don't have like all of the words like correctly in my mind right now, but basically that's it. If you do nothing of your time and your energy, and you just want to relax and you just want to unwind, and that's it, like look at the clouds, just enjoy life and be very kind of easy breezy, then don't expect of having an easy life. It might be easy like right now in this current state, but you're going to have to deal with the consequences of your lack of discipline. Like it's like working. If you don't work, then you're not going to have money. And if you don't have money, then you're not going to have the financial means to pay your bills, to get food, to get clothes, and to just cover any basic human needs. So, and it's not easy. We all have to make sacrifices, and we all need to work, have some form of like work and physical like endeavor in order to get what we need and what we want. And it has been like a real personal challenge currently in my life, with me leaving my job and making this personal self promise of embarking myself onto this creative adventure and journey to reach my goals and to make my dreams come true, and to really be able to provide the life that I want for myself, and to impact, be creative and positively impact the people around me and myself, and to find a way to make money on my own. The reason for why it's so difficult, it's not only it's kind of a shift in routine and shift in lifestyle and whatnot, but again, we live in a world filled with distractions, so it's easy for me to I'm on my computer and let me check my emails like very quickly, and then let me check on YouTube. I'm not very educated about this or that, and let me check on my emails again, and let me go see on Instagram if somebody has messaged me or whatever. But that's it. The cost of having your dream life and to make your dreams come true is the day-to-day sacrifice of being disciplined and to do whatever you said you would do, regardless of how you feel, what you're thinking, and all the doubts and insecurities and anything that is kind of crossing your mind right now. You have to really be in action and to be really on your toes and know what's happening, be self-aware, be very like disciplined and kind of harsh to yourself. Like the way for me to be disciplined is to be kind of show myself this sense of tough love and to speak to myself like harshly, and it really kind of gears me to doing what I have to do. And once you're actually living it, you realize that it's not that hard. and you feel proud about yourself. You're like, hey, I can actually do this. It was not that hard. And I'm actually, contrarily to what I was initially thinking at first, I'm actually enjoying the process. And I love what I'm doing. And, for me, like, personally, the thing that I hate the most about this overall, like, journey is the fact that sometimes, like, I know I'm finding, like, step by step how or what to do, but at some point, once this task is completed, then I don't know what to do next. Or I have this sense that I don't really know what I have to do next. And, I'm in this very uncomfortable spot of uncertainty and doubt. And that's when I personally hate being in this position. That's been the hardest thing about me as of late right now, and on my path, on my journey, is it's this spot, it's this sense of uncertainty. But I've realized the quickest way to get out of it is for me, it's to move my body, like stopping being stagnant and just move. And, like, again, try to be physically active. Like, I either clean or reorganize my space. I go for a walk, I work out, or I, perhaps make some research at the same time. And as I'm working out, I'm listening to a podcast where, things kind of, little by little kind of unblock, and I'm back into knowing what I have to do because I've cleared my mind, my mental space, if that makes sense. So, again, like, once you have unlocked this hack and this mental space, for me, like, as of late, I know I have to keep the momentum. I don't want to stop. I want to keep on gearing up to in placing this state of mind and this mindset. Because, again, it's so easy to lose a positive habit, a good habit. It's so easy to lose grasp and to start all over again. So that's it. Like, putting yourself under these uncomfortable situations is really this kind of hack, this life hack to unblocking this sense of being disciplined and to reach your goals. And, again, to beat down distraction and putting your focus again to what you actually want in life. So yeah, I have this sense I want to also elaborate something that came to my mind yesterday. Distraction and temptation. This is something that came to my mind also yesterday before going to sleep. Distractions are offered as temptations, and temptations are offered as distractions. So distractions don't come to you, and they don't distract you because it's something that you don't want. Oftentimes, distractions come into your life and they get your attention because they actually offer something that you deep down internally want, if that makes sense. So whenever you're tempted, you're in this in-between state of like, oh, I want to, but I know I shouldn't, or whatever. Just realize that it is a distraction from the source, from the truth, and from what is actually important to you, to the core essence of who you are and what you want to achieve and who you want to become. And, in the spiritual universe and space, it's distraction from God. And, if you're a believer of a higher source, know that God really wants the best for you. And He wants you to be happy, fulfilled and satisfied and joyful and peaceful, and at peace with yourself, most importantly. So whenever distractions come, just know that it's a temptation, and whenever you're tempted, just realize that it is a distraction, and try to understand what is the goal from this distraction. And whenever you're being tempted by the devil, ask yourself, why is he trying to test you? Why is he trying to distract you? Why? How? From what? Try to really get into, ponder and meditate upon this potential situation, if you're not living it currently right now, because every human being will be tempted in some way or another, or in whichever form. So you have to set your mind as to, what do you want to be? Like, do you want to fall victim to the devil's temptation and distractions? Or do you want to win this internal and external battle, and to prove to yourself and prove to God and prove to the devil that you're actually smarter? You can choose to be smarter than the devil, and you can choose to be loyal and respectful towards yourself and God, and actually you can really get whatever you want in life, because you and God itself can only bring these things on a sustainable level, truthfully, because if you fall victim to the devil's temptation, then just know that he will perhaps maybe give it to you, but you're not going to be really fulfilled, and it's not going to be sustainable, and you might lose it all and fall like 10 times like deeper than when he found you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we see it all the time with celebrities and people who chose quick fame versus sustainable and hard work success. So anyways, this was my video of this week, everything that came to my mind as of late recently. I hope this video was clear, and it was insightful, and it really made you kind of ponder and made you realize certain things about your life and yourself, and open new internal or external mind spaces, and elevated and expanded your mind and your soul and your heart, and that it will be impactful and beneficial into your external reality. So let me know what you guys have thought of this video, if it was helpful to you. And for this week, I want to spend a little bit more time outside, as it's autumn, it's my favorite season, and I want to enjoy the last few bits of the warmth and the weather before the winter months. So I hope, again, you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys have thought of this. If you want me to elaborate a little bit more or to re-clarify something, please let me know. It'll be a pleasure to discuss with you further along. And let me know as well what you would like to see more of in the future. And I'm thinking about maybe posting some content about like my day-to-day life, which is actually very boring, because I'm staying at home, I'm doing my things, and I'm doing my best to focus on my goals and to push myself to getting out of my comfort zone and whatnot. So anyways, thanks again for watching and listening. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you all very soon next week for another video. And yeah, I wish you a lovely rest of your day and your week. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.